eat, stuff like that. I was, we were pregnant and everything at the time whenever I did that. So it was a lot harder, right? That would be my first case there in terms of like getting ready. Save up a cushionable amount that you can sustain yourself for a couple of months. It might take a couple of months to get there. It is what it is, right? You'd rather go through that, keep the sustainable thing on the side, and then build your business on the side. You're going to be burning the candle at both ends for a little while. I'm gonna quote Hormozy here a little bit, where he talks about it's going to be for now, but not forever, right? So that's one way to think of it. It's like, this is going to have to be for right now, but it won't be forever, right? I hope that answered the first question well enough to get to the second one.
Yeah, for sure. One of the things that I was thinking is, with my current job, I use a lot of cognitive power. I'm making a lot of decisions and growing into my role. I'm the only person in my role. I'm teaching myself that role. I don't get a lot of support from leadership, and so it takes a lot out of me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I was thinking of transitioning to another job, even if it's part-time. But I'm going to take the advice of having more savings first beforehand. But then the other thing to think about that I'm thinking about is like to kind of ease off the pressure valve a little bit. Like you said, I don't have employees yet. Should I consider starting to hire employees as I, get more influx coming in? And what does that look like?
For sure, yeah. So I don't recommend, one person can make $10,000 a month in profit by themselves. Okay, that is proven that can be done. Isaac Susi right now is making like 12 or 15 grand a month by himself. And Aaron is also doing the same thing. I did the same thing. So in terms of transitioning to employees, I don't recommend hiring until you hit that 10K, because now you actually have enough coming in per month to actually pay them, right? The first hire that I recommend making is actually a lister and shipper. Now, you want to make sure you're getting enough devices to do that, right? Now, a couple of ways you can do this. You can hire somebody basically like in-house, or to come over once a week, or whatever. You can do it that way. You can also hire a company like Rockstar Flippers to actually help you list items like for you, where all you need to do is take the pictures, or you can hire somebody to take the pictures, right? Tyler actually has an amazing training on this. I'm probably gonna have to have him come in and do it again, because it was so detailed on his SOPs, way better than the ones I made. So there's that first part. You want a lister and you want a shipper. They usually can be the same person. And then the way that I like to pay people in this business is based on performance. And the reason I say that is because, and this is actually how I pay most people now, my coaches included, it's basically pay per performance, right? So as the company grows, they grow and they make more, right? So for example, if I was, and I've done this, lister and shipper, right? The lister gets $2 per listing, right? And then $2 per shipping. So you can add that into your back end metrics on the listing and shipping. So as the business does better,
what were those numbers again?
$2 listing, $2 shipping, or you can change the numbers as you see fit. I think Isaac does like $4 per listing, I think, and just leaves it at that, and just like shipping is expected, right? But that's what I do, is like, now I do most of my listing and shipping just because I have the time. I'm full time, so whatever. My wife does some of it too, so we just work together, right? Actually, she does more of it than I do. I'll just be real. But whenever you hire somebody, you want to pay them based on how the business is doing. So if the business goes up, they make more money. And most of the time, this works better than an hourly wage would, right? So for example, if let's say you're paying $15 an hour to do this, what if they finish everything in an hour? Is that fair to them? Like, what if they list like 15 items in 1 hour, and they make $15? Not super fair to them, but if it's $2 per listing and they do 15 listings, they get $30. It's pretty good, right? And basically, the faster they do it, the more money they're going to make faster, right? So that's the first hire that I would recommend, is a lister and a shipper. Okay, the second one that I'd recommend, and I have a list for this somewhere. Where the heck did I put that? A negotiator. So a negotiator for sure. Now, you can do this in two ways. You can either hire a reach out specialist, which is something that you can absolutely do. I had it both ways. So I hired James for a couple of months to do my stuff. Right now we're focusing a lot more on Resellerator and everything. So he's actually working for another person in the program currently. He was my closer. So my focus is a little bit more on you guys at the moment, as me and Aaron build out something that's top secret on the back end. So, so the way that you pay, let's say a reach out specialist or somebody who negotiates for you, the way that I did it was I paid 20% on the close. So let's say they do reach outs for you. Let's say they do, I don't know, 30 reach outs a day on Marketplace for you. And they can do this from their own account too. And let's say they close one, and you buy it. Let's say it's a, I don't know, let's to keep it easy, let's make it a phone. Let's say you make $100 on that phone. $20 of that, after it sells, and this is the gross profit without shipping that I pay them on. Okay, they cannot, they aren't responsible for shipping, so they can't actually manage the price of the shipping. Okay, I didn't feel like that was fair in my eyes. So let's say they make $20. Let's just say off of that, they make $20 off $100 profit, gross profit, right? That's how it works. Same thing for the reach out specialist. Same thing for somebody doing ads for you. Okay. Then the reason I do it that way is because you guys are going to see a lot of companies that are quote unquote closing your leads for you. Okay. They are using VAs. All right. They are not trained people in this industry. Okay. Now, and please let me know if I'm like on track with your question here, because I will go off on a tangent. Am I answering thoroughly?
Yeah, I'm taking notes. You're doing pretty well.
All right, cool. I just want to because I'll go off, right? So I like to pay 20%, okay, on whether it's a reach out, whether it's a ad, it doesn't matter, okay? Now, I pay 30% if they upsell. The reason I pay 30% if they upsell is because that money is free, okay? So let's say your closer closes somebody on an iPhone, but then they upsell, and this is how James made like $150 off of one customer, by the way. He closed one person on a phone, on an iPhone, and then that person also had an Apple Watch Series 8 and then a MacBook on top of that. And then he closed everything for $600. I sold everything for like $1,800. So he made a lot of money off of just one deal, right? Because he made 30% on the MacBook and 30% on the watch too. So he made a really good amount of money. So 20% on the initial item, 30% on any additional items that come from the same customer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it gives them an incentive,
it gives them a
because
massive
I have
incentive.
people negotiating for me, and I take screenshots and I'm like, hey, like, one, can we say no in a more friendly way, and two, can we try to upsell, like, rather than just being like, unfortunately, we can't help you. It's like, what are you doing? You're just telling them, shoo, you don't have value. Go
exactly.
away. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so when you do it based on a pay, like, by percentage or pay for performance way, number one, they have the ability to make way more money, and when they make a lot more money, you make a lot more money. Like, that's just how it works, right? And then on top of that, they are incentivized to upsell at that point. Now, some people, and I've been told this by other people in the industry who also have their own coaching programs, 20% is too much. I don't care. I will, if I am not in my DMs at all, and I'm just showing up to pick up devices and pay the cash, and all I got to do is that, I'm very happy paying 20%. Very happy with it, right? So
Now, do you have to teach them how to appraise then as well?
So this is why I recommend hiring somebody that's already been in the industry, right?
Okay.
So it can be another phone flipper. You can drop it in the Slack group and offer, somebody who has been all the way through the program to do this for you. That is a legit thing. Now, me and Aaron were actually going to launch something for this. There just wasn't enough demand for it, apparently. Also, everybody under the sun thinks they can negotiate well, and most of them can't. So you're going to have to, you'll have to just test, right? You have to test these people. And if they're in the Resellerator program, they should have gone through Aaron's stuff. They should have gone through my stuff. That's just how it works. Now, another thing you can do is you can pay Aaron to actually train them. Now, I also recommend just like, I paid Matt and Aaron to both train James, right? Like I paid $150 to both of them so that they could hop on like an hour and a half long call to train my closer, right? So, and that skyrocketed stuff quickly too. So
I actually thought about that. I specifically thought, like, when I do hire a negotiator, I should call Aaron and see if he's open to training him.
yeah. You just pay him. I think it's $150 an hour is what he charged. So honestly, that's a steal. So
that's worth it. Yeah,
100%. Yeah. So because they don't technically work for me; they're contractors, right? So they have their own stuff as well. And by the way, that's how I recommend hiring everybody. I don't actually recommend hiring employees, quote unquote, because then you have to pay all sorts of other stuff, and that's a gigantic headache. So, just my 2 cents.
Cool.
So that I mean, I think that kind of encompasses everybody that you need to hire, unless you need to hire more of them, right? So yeah, any other questions around that? I hope that was helpful.
It is. I hope other people are getting value out of this. I don't want to eat up too much time, but I think these are things that, hopefully other people are getting value from. So one of the things, I guess I have one more question, if it's okay, regarding the hiring piece. And then I just wanted to talk about like whether or not I should shift to doing Google ads like now, or if there's any let me ask that. Let me ask one question at a time. So for hiring, let's see. I guess the question comes down to like, how do you find someone trustworthy? And I guess if we're hiring in Slack, that's okay. But if we're hiring like a runner, for example, like someone that's handling money, or even someone that's coming over our house, right?
That's
like how do you vet people, and like what types of people do you hire? Like college students? Do you have certain types that you look for? Yeah, any thoughts on that?
For sure. Yeah. That was the last person I forgot to talk about, was the runner. So runners are tricky. I'll be real. Like, it's got to be someone you trust. Now, one way you could do it is you could have somebody picking up the devices, and then you can do electronic payments. I've done that before. Now I do the scheduled meetup model, so this really isn't an issue for me. Is because I'm like already there, like I'm already actually at the Starbucks most of the time, just doing other work while meeting people, right? So, but if I did have a runner, the way I would personally do it is I would do electronic payments only. That way I could manage everything and have receipts for pretty much everything. So like Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, PayPal, right? Maybe even not Zelle, actually, like, because I don't think Zelle can be reversed. Cash App, PayPal definitely is good because you can always reverse those payments. But that's the way I would do it. If I had somebody else doing it, then I would just have them picking them up, and I'd be, now unless it was somebody I like super trusted. And you could also pay per pickup, right? So you pay them like $10 per pickup, right? If you want to do it that way, you can totally do it that way. The thing with me though is like everybody comes to me, I don't drive to anybody, nobody, right? I just assume as soon as like we're talking on the phone or we're in Messenger, hey, I got the cash, you're coming to me, come get it, like, and I'm pretty aggressive in that way. So I've never needed a runner for that. Like, that's just part of my day. Like, I'm not doing anything else. I might as well just pick this thing up, you know?
I'd love to see, and I'm sure you've shared these things before. You know, I apologize for not really being in like any calls, but I'd love to see some examples of, you know, like you kind of pushing that, like getting people to come to you.
So I can pull up
I
a
have
phone
seen-
call.
Sure. I did hop in on a call that Tyler was doing once, and I loved his phrasing. He said he was troubleshooting with you one day, and you know, you guys found that instead of saying like, "Hey, I'll give you $10 extra," just saying like 3 gallons of gas is kind of like a neat little psychological trick.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And
Dude,
I have been doing that.
that was one of the
With
best
success.
things we ever. That was one of the best things we ever came up with, and I still use that to this day. Like, I had a guy the other day. So like, I think it was not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before that. I had a guy who was messaging me. He was like 30 minutes away. He's like, dude, I need money today. He's like, can you make it to me? And I'm like, I can't, dude. I'm meeting other customers here at this time. And I was meeting like 3 other people at the Starbucks at the same time. And I was like, look, you're going to have to come to me. I'll buy you a gallon of gas if you can make it here. So now this goes into the customer service part of things real quick. Like, he made it all the way up until he ran out of gas. Right?
Wow.
So like, and he was right down the road. And I was like, okay. So what I did is I just got my gas can out of my garage, and I just went up to the gas station, put $5 in it, and I gave him, and I drove to him, gave him the gas can to fill up his car, and then I was like, hey, I'll be at the Starbucks meeting the other customers. Just come inside whenever you get there, right? So you see what I mean? Like, even if they don't have gas, they're still willing to get there if you don't give them another choice, right? Now, I did that out of the kindness of my heart, like, and like, he praised me forever after that too. Like, he referred me to everybody.
Yeah. Not everyone does that.
No, absolutely not. And that's actually the first time I've told that story. But I drove to him, I gave him my gallon of gas, and I was like, yeah, just bring the gallon of gas when you come and sell your phone. And, you know, he was grateful for that. So I literally bought the dude a gallon of gas, right? So that is a huge way of getting people to come to you. I'm going to share a conversation that I had for this iPad earlier. That way you can get a really good sense of how this works, all right? So let me pull this up.
Sure. Sounds good.
Let me get this for sound.
Hello, this is Chris with Electronics. How can I help you?
Yes, sir. I just happened to look you up using Google, and
Yeah.
I was calling to see if I don't know how the process
Can you guys hear?
works. Just trying to see if you can give
Yeah.
me a price on what you could do for an iPad.
Sure, what iPad do you have? Do you know which
It's a,
model it is?
I believe it's a 10 generation 256 gigabyte.
Okay. All right, and give me 1 second. Are there any issues with it?
No.
Okay, cool. And sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Oh, my name is Jeremy. I'm sorry.
Oh, good, Jeremy. Let me see what I can do for you real quick, my man. You said it was a 10th generation iPad? Just a regular
Yes.
iPad? Not the Pro?
Yeah,
or
regular,
anything
no cellular.
like that? All right, cool. Let me see what I can do for you. You having a good day so far, Jeremy?
Oh, yeah, it's pretty good, Dave.
Awesome.
Can't complain.
Cool. So for that specific iPad, it looks like I could do I could do 160.
160?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to sell it today?
Yeah, we can actually do that.
Awesome, dude. So I'm gonna be. Are you in League City or close to it by chance?
I'm in Texas City, but I'm fairly close, I guess.
Okay, yeah, you're right down the road. So
Yeah.
I'll be meeting people at a Starbucks out here at 3 p.m. today.
Okay.
Let me go ahead and give you the address to that. Your phone number is 409-354-2477.
Yes.
All right, cool. Let me see let me send the address for you. Let me go ahead. There you go. So 160 iPad 10th gen. I'm just writing this for myself.
Okay.
So I went ahead and sent you the address. You should be able to just click on it. And then I went ahead and just put that in there. I'll be there at 3 p.m. if that's okay with you. You guys do a couple of calls before then. Is that all right with you?
Yeah, that's all
Perfect, dude. Yeah, I gotta go get my windshield looked at too.
right. Okay.
But yeah, Jeremy, I will see you at that Starbucks. I'll be meeting people inside, and if you would, just bring a valid ID for the bill set.
Okay.
All right, man. Appreciate your business. Looking forward to it. And see you soon.
All right.
Bye.
hope that was helpful for everybody on like seeing how I get people to just come to me. I literally just say it. Like, I'm going to be here. Basically, come get your money, right? So, hope that was helpful.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Absolutely. All right.
Yeah, so I did have one more question, but I just want to check it with other people to make sure it's okay.
Does anybody else have any questions that they have some burning questions that they need to ask? Kevin asked me earlier in the week if we could hop on a call, but I figured this would actually just be a better way to do it where all of you guys can get help. Okay. Ken, you got a question? I know you're dealing with a little bit of negative ROAS at the moment.
I have questions on Google Ads.
Yeah, sure.
But that's something we can do that later.
Yeah, we're going to do ad audits here towards the end, coming up. I'll stay a little bit later if I need to, but yeah, I can take a look here shortly. All right, Kevin, if you got one more question, bro, go ahead.
Yeah, so just the current transition. I haven't done Google Ads, speaking of Google Ads, and I want to make that transition, and I recognize that the quality of the lead is going to be different. And I mean, you showed some data on that, you know, the close rate is almost, what was it, like 35% higher or something, right?
Yeah.
So I want to dig into that. I want to start getting Google reviews. I recognize the value of that. And I also want to honor the current capital that I have. And so right now I'm just curious, like I'm at $20 a day on Facebook. Do you think I should like drop that down to like 10 or 15 and transition to like 10 on Google? Or like, what are your thoughts on that, managing my capital regarding that?
So normally with Google, you want to start off with about $5 a day, and then slowly increase it over time. You also want to Google My Business. That way you can start generating free leads off of that. Google My Business by far becomes one of the most valuable assets, if not the most valuable asset in your business once you have it growing. And this is what a lot of other people don't understand. And the reason they don't understand is because they don't put enough consistent effort into building it to realize the fruits of the labor, right? That lead that you guys just heard, that guy came from Google My Business. Straight up.
Yeah.
Free lead for free. And it's nice, right? But it takes time. It takes time to build it. You got to get the reviews. You got to post the photos. You got to get customer photos. You got to, it's all these things where it's like, it takes time. And, in a sense, you are building, like a lot of people think of this business as a side hustle. In the beginning it is, but once you really want to take it to the next level, you need to start treating it like a real business. And that means getting the Google My Business. That means getting the LLC. That means getting legit, right? So, as far as ads, I would definitely recommend probably $5 a day starting off, and then incrementally increase it over time. The great thing about Google is like the longer you do them, the better they get, which is really cool. So it's not like Facebook where you have to like constantly test and deal with Facebook headaches.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah, it sure is. So, because Facebook, Facebook is all inflation to me now. Anyway, so the way that you make money with Facebook is following up. That's how you make money with Facebook. Like, let's be real. The F in Facebook stands for following up at this point. If you're not following up with your leads on Facebook, then you're not going to make any money. That's just how they work.
Cool. Well, I appreciate your time, man. Thanks for all the